Hello again to another Agakale React, and today we will be watching Dune, full timeline of universes. 35,000 years in 13 minutes. That is rather long time, and it's from Movie Facts, so I think it's something new for me. Maybe I've seen it, maybe I haven't. It's hard to remember all the channels I've watched. So, just jump into it and just watch Dune timeline.
Here's a 10-minute chronology of the Dune universe, covering roughly 35,000 years of human history, from ancient times to the end of days. Dune is one of the most intricately developed fictional universes, comparable to the depths of the Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. The timeline of Dune, spanning Frank Herbert's original novels and the prequels and sequels by his son Brian Herbert, encapsulates thousands of years of history and major events that shaped this world. Here, we'll focus on the key milestones while omitting minor details to keep the timeline manageable. In the Dune universe, time isn't calculated from the birth of Christ, but from the founding of the Spacing Guild, an event central to Dune lore. Years before this event are marked as BG, before Guild, and years after are denoted as AG, after Guild. For reference, the creation of the Spacing Guild corresponds approximately to the year 13,000 AD in our calendar. The entire history of humanity on Old Earth is also part of Dune's universe and serves as its foundation.
Really?
The oldest event on Old Earth that relates to the plot of Dune occurred in the 11,300s BG, or the 19th century in our era. This event was the Luddite movement, in which people protested against the Industrial Revolution, particularly against the use of machines that were replacing human labor. The principles of the Luddites would later inspire the Butlerian Jihad, a future movement opposing sentient machines. The beginning of a space travel in the Dune universe occurred around 11,200 BG, corresponding to 1960 AD in our world.
I mean, makes sense, because that's what's gonna happen, isn't it? If you look at it that way. We sent the first human into space in, the moon landing was in 1969. But the Gagarin was in space. Was it 10 years before? 59? No, it wasn't. It must have been not that early. Was it? Can't remember now. So, terrible memory, guys. Terrible memory. And, yeah, so actually I have 20 seconds to check. Gagarin in space. Gagarin in space. 61, so I wasn't that off, like 2 years, but still something. So so that's the beginning. It obviously it doesn't mean it's gonna be looking like it's looking in the screen in here, so space hoovering machines and stuff like that. That's not going to be the thing. I'm just guessing like beginning of the beginnings, like literally sending out first human into space and all that. So jump in.
At that time, humans discovered space and began to gradually explore it, settling on different planets across the galaxy. This process took millennia, during which humanity maintained contact with one another, but was not unified under a single government. Each planet was effectively independent. Around 5000 BG, a crucial event took place for the Dune universe. The wandering ethno-religious people, known as the Muad'Ru, who visited many planets and left strange symbols, discovered the planet Arrakis, brought with them sand trout, likely unaware of the consequences this would have. At that time, Arrakis had a favorable climate, abundant water resources, trees, and animals. However, the sand trout transformed its climate, turning it into a desert.
Huh. Like, I read the first Dune book, and the second one I started. And as much as I loved the movies that came out recently, it's obviously, the reading of the book, weirdly enough, usually I find the book much better. Like the first book was really good, but it's quite, not psychological, but kind of like like the man wasn't high all the time when he was writing. So now I can't understand everything. I don't mean from the English language that my English is not good enough to read it. It's fine. It's just that I don't understand his meaning behind a lot of what's going on in the book. So it's very philosophical. That's the word I'm looking for.
Around 2500 BG, most of the human-populated worlds and planets unified into a powerful and advanced empire. In 2300 BG, special philosophers, known as the Thinkers, began to emerge in the old empire. They were notable for being the first in human history to develop and utilize technology that allowed them to transfer their brains into special containers, achieving a form of immortality. Later, this technology would be used by the Titans. Around 1580 BG, religious movements associated with Islam began to gain strength in the empire. A new prophet emerged, adding mystical elements to the religion and departing from traditional doctrine. In the following years, the Islamic movement merged with Zen Buddhism, giving rise to a new religion, Buddhism, which was adopted by many people, including the ancestors of the Fremen and the inhabitants of the planet Lilacs, who would eventually become the Beni Lilacs. In 1400 BG, during the rule of Emperor Shaka the Wise, the imperial chemist Yanshu Fashkoko discovered spice on Arrakis and identified its geriatric properties, its ability to slow aging. In the 1300s BG, Andrew Scoras, Juliana Parhi, and several others were born in the Old Empire, and together they would ultimately lead to its downfall.
Interesting.
In 1287 BG, 20 conspirators, united by a prophet under the pseudonym Lalok, decided to seize power in the Old Empire. A programming genius among them developed a special computer virus, an artificial intelligence with human emotions and a desire to destroy the state. The rebellion succeeded, and the conspirators, who called themselves the Titans, became the new rulers of a vast portion of worlds that once belonged to the Empire. The Titans soon effectively ceased to be human, placing their brains into specialized machines. They began to consider ordinary humans as inferior beings and slaves, giving them the derogatory name Hretgives. But in 1192 BG, humans rose up against the Titans. The rebellion lasted almost 10 years and was suppressed only in 1183 BG. The Titans ruled for just over 100 years, until they were overthrown by the artificial intelligence Omnius, which had escaped their control. This occurred in 1182. At that time, the remaining independent worlds united as the League of Nobles, who began to resist Omnius. Omnius's empire lasted nearly 1,000 years, marked by a fierce struggle between humans.
So far, it sounds very similar to the Warhammer 40,000. So I'm guessing Warhammer was very inspired quite heavily on the DUNE stuff. Although I don't know when those prequels came out. Like the DUNE itself came out in what, 1969 or 60 something, and so you can't really. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, I'm not saying it's very expired, but maybe, like I think that basically what often happens is the fact that the amount of stuff that we can come out with is kind of limited. So, and there's more and more of us, so a lot of people think about the same things at the same time. Maybe, I don't know. I might be thinking and saying a really stupid thing right now, but maybe not. We'll see.
Initially, it was a conventional conflict, but it soon evolved into a holy war for humanity's survival. Here are the key stages of this war. In 223 BG, Vorian Atreides, the biological son of the Titan Agamemnon, was born. Initially, siding with the machines like his father, he later switched to humanity's side, motivated by his love for a girl from the League of Nobles, and ultimately played a crucial role in securing victory for humanity. That same year, Javier Harkonnen was born, another hero of the war and a close friend of Vorian, who sacrificed himself for humanity's cause. A year later, in 222 BG, Serena Butler was born. She became a symbol of the jihad for humanity, rallying them together. In 201 BG, the robot Erasmus on Old Earth killed Serena Butler's newborn son, Mannion, witnessed by enslaved humans. This act triggered a rebellion, leading Omnius to command the Titans to exterminate all humans on Earth. In 200 BG, humans retaliated by using atomic weapons to destroy all robots on Earth, marking the beginning of the Butlerian Jihad. In 108 BG, Omnius created a virus and unleashed it on the League of Nobles' worlds, known as Omnius' Plague. It wiped out over half of humanity. In the same year, humanity responded with the Purge, destroying all versions of Omnius across every planet except for the machines' capital on Corin. In 88 BG, the Battle of Corin took place, in which humans finally defeated Omnius and the thinking machines. As a result of the war, the League of Nobles was transformed into an empire with its first emperor, Phaikon Butler, adopting the surname Corino in honor of the planet where the machines were defeated. In the following decades, humanity focused on establishing this new empire. However, in 5 BG, the Galactic Civil War broke out between the forces of the Emperor, the radical Butlerian fanatics, and Joseph Wenport's trading corporation. House Corino emerged victorious, solidifying its power. 5 years later, the Galactic Shipping Company, Fold Space, was restructured into the Spacing Guild, a monopoly on space transportation. This marked the beginning of a new calendar system in DUNE. From this point on, events are recorded in AG, after Guild. In the 1st century AG, the Great Convention was established, ensuring a balance of power between the Emperor, the Spacing Guild, and the Landsraad, an assembly of noble houses. In the 3rd century AG, the noble houses adopted the Assassin's Handbook, which set the rules for acceptable conflicts between houses, including a list of poisons allowed for eliminating rivals. Around 2000 AG, a nuclear disaster struck the empire's capital, Salusa Secundus, leading the emperor to relocate the capital to Kaitane. In 9153 AG, the governorship of Arrakis became an imperial privilege granted to a chosen family for no more than a century. In 10,111 AG, the governorship of Arrakis was transferred from House Richez to House Harkonnen, led by Baron Dimitri. After his death, his son Abulurd became governor, but failed to manage the position, leading to Vladimir Harkonnen's succession in 10,153 AG. In 10,154 AG, Emperor Elrod IX, collaborating with the Beni Lilacs, attempted to create synthetic spice, known as Amal. However, this project ultimately failed. In 10,156 AG, Leto Atreides became Duke following his father Paulus's death, and began to gain popularity within the Landsraad. As a result, years later, the new emperor, Shaddam IV, began to fear him and allied with Vladimir Harkonnen to eliminate Duke Atreides. In 10,191 AG, Arrakis was granted to Duke Atreides. Within a year, however, the Emperor, with the help of the Harkonnens, attacked and killed the Duke. His son Paul and Lady Jessica, his mother, fled into the desert of Arrakis. In 10,193 AG, Paul Atreides, leading the Fremen, overthrew the Harkonnens and Empire Shaddam, becoming the new Emperor. In 10,194 AG, the Jihad of Muad'Dib began to suppress all dissent and spread the faith in Paul Atreides across the empire. In 10,207 AG, Paul Atreides, after numerous assassination attempts and periods of self-doubt, loses both his vision and his gift of prescience, ultimately retreating into the desert. In 10,217 AG, Paul's son, Leto II, becomes the new emperor. He undertakes the Golden Path, a plan to ensure humanity's survival. To accomplish this, he merges with Sandtrout, effectively transforming himself into an immortal sandworm. By 10,400 AG, due to terraforming, Arrakis becomes a lush oasis again, with sandworms and sand trout nearly extinct. In the 11,000s AG, the Atreides Empire expands beyond the galaxy. By the 13,000s AG, Emperor Leto II allows Ixian scientists to resume production of computers and forbidden technology. This eventually leads to the Ixians developing spacecraft that travel with...
That sounds interesting. So I know there's a show coming out Dune that's happening 10,000 before what's happening in the movie, so definitely gonna be watching that soon. But I don't know if this video kind of makes me want to go back to the Dune books, but I don't know if I'll be able to go past it. Because really, I'm not the person that often leaves books just unread. Like if I'm starting, I'm trying, but no, that's a lie. I do leave the books. If I'm not enjoying them, I'm just not going to waste time on them. Unless there would be like, sometimes there would be like, let's say you have multiple point of views. Although, no, that didn't really make me finish the Wheel of Time either. And there's like 2 point of views that I was kind of interested about the rest of the book, just nah. So, okay, the ads are gone, so let's get them back. Oh, soon as well.
In 13,275 AG, enemies of Leto attempt to assassinate him, and they succeed. The Emperor dies, and his empire collapses, just as he intended. From 13,725 to 15,200 AG, humanity endured a period of famine and the scattering, a time of endless wars, catastrophes, and other crises. During this time, unsupervised sandworms reclaimed Arrakis, once again turning it into a desert. In 13,750 AG, the Ixians invented the first generation of navigational machines, ending the Spacing Guild's monopoly on space travel. By 14,000s AG, humanity used Ixian ships to spread across vast regions of the universe, reaching previously unexplored sectors. Around the 14,500s AG, the Bene Lilacs finally developed a method for artificial spice production, making space travel even more accessible and allowing humanity to explore even further. In 14,929 AG, Miles Teg, a descendant of House Atreides and future Mentat and Supreme Commander of the Bene Gesserit, was born. By the 15,200s AG, some who had ventured out in the scattering began to return to the former Atreides Empire. Among them were a group calling themselves the Honored Maiders, a powerful female order formed by fish speakers, former Bene Gesserit sisters, and Lilac Sioux women. In 15,229 AG, a war broke out between the returning Honored Maiders and the Bene Gesserit. This conflict ended in 15,240 AG, with the two orders merging into a new force. In 15,241 AG, key figures escaped aboard the invisible ship Ithaca, the Gola Duncan Idaho, who had gained access to the memories of all his previous lives, as well as Miles Teg, Shiana, and several others. During their journey, the crew of Ithaca created clones of legendary figures from the past, including Paul Atreides, Jessica Atreides, Thufir Hava, Shani, Stilgar, Liet Kynes, Leto Atreides II, and Dr. Wellington Yue. In 15,256 AG, machines that had survived the Butlerian Jihad, hiding on the fringes of the universe, also produced a clone of Paul Atreides to serve as their Kwisatz Haderach, naming him Paolo. In 15,264 AG, Ithaca was captured by Omnis, who, upon finding the clone of Paul Atreides, arranged a duel between him and Paolo, with the victor to become the true Kwisatz Haderach. Paolo won but died from a spice overdose shortly after. The surviving Paul Atreides clone proclaimed that the most powerful Kwisatz Haderach was not him, but the Gola Duncan Idaho. resurrected thousands of times and possessing incredible abilities. This Duncan ultimately formed an alliance with the robot Erasmus, merging with him to become a super being that unified humans and machines, finally reconciling the two forms of life. Humanity and machines entered an era of peaceful coexistence, and thus the story of the DUNE universe came to an end. The latest event in the timeline references an occasional 5,000 years later, where a man named Gauss Ando gave a speech commemorating the 10,000th anniversary of Leto Atreides II's ascension. And that concludes our journey. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Your engagement is the best reward. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.
That was cool. And quick too, so you know, something good that we like. Well, I didn't know a lot about that stuff. Obviously, the stuff that was in the movies, yeah, but nothing else really about the rest of the stuff from before, the stuff after. I didn't realize there's that much of lore in Dune. That's a lot of reading, by the way. So yeah. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!